All right, alrighty. I don't have any idea if this is working or not. Um, it is. We're going to try to use OBS. I don't have any earthly idea if this is working, but we are definitely going to give it that old school try. It says that we've got Friday evening live. Did I spell it right? I sure did. My name is Willie Lawson. I am the CEO, CFO, chief dishwasher and bottle washer of fightbackmedia.com. Thank you ever so much for spending some time with you this evening. I don't know if anybody's going to spend any time, but we're going to get this done because I really want to talk about this. I think this is incredibly important. I have to wonder. I think we should all wonder. This battle that is going on between former President Trump and Ron DeSantis, and basically it's really between the supporters of President Trump and the supporters of Ron DeSantis. Now, what I have noticed, I don't know if you've noticed, and you're welcome to write in the chat if you'd like. What I've noticed is this: I've noticed that Trump and the left seem to be allies in this, and for a lot of people, and this is why, I asked the question: should they be doing this? Should this be going on? Because a lot of the same things or problems that Donald Trump has with, or says he has with Ron DeSantis, the left has similar problems. I was talking to my neighbor earlier today, and he basically called DeSantis a fascist. Now, the thing is, I know that he knows what a fascist is and what fascism is. And I think it's just because everybody else has been calling him a fascist. I don't think that that's true. And on the same token, I don't think that Ron DeSantis is Soros base, which he's also been accused of by the Trump and the Trump camp. I think that he's a threat because he is a lot like Trump in the sense that he is a disruptor. He is a disruptor. I'm not really sure that this should be going. I'm pretty sure that it shouldn't be going. That it shouldn't be going on. And I'll tell you the real reason. The real reason is that it's because it stops us, as conservatives especially, from having the conversation. It's almost like a lot of times what the left does. They want to stop us from having the conversation. And you'll say the conversation about the conversation about anything. That we should never have a conversation about anything. The idea is that we should just go along with whatever is happening. We just go along with it. As conservatives especially, go along with it from having the conversation. And it's almost like that you would ask a question about it. I'll put you on the other side. That you would question anything. That you would raise your hand and go, "Excuse me, pardon me, I have a question." Then you must be some sort of fascist. You must be some sort of hater. You must be some sort of bigot. You must be some sort of racist. If you even have a question. And the left will tell you all the time, there isn't any debate. Full stop. Well, there's always debate. And frankly, nothing is ever full stop. I mean, nothing is ever full stop. That's nonsense. That's somebody who doesn't want to defend their point. Someone who doesn't want to debate. Now, we've all been tied up in that conversation with someone on the left. and we make a point, and then when they can't debate your point or beat your point or break your logic, what's the first thing they do? That's right, they call you a name. What is, and this is bothersome, especially for somebody like me that supported, voted for in the general election and supported Donald Trump through his presidency. This is troublesome for me. That his go-to and that his team's go-to first before policy, first before anything, is to belittle someone by calling them, or attempt to belittle someone by calling them a name. You know, Lion Ted, Sleepy Jeb, Little Marco. And I guess what bothers me even more is that some of you just went with it. Come on now. Y'all just went with it. Yes. Trump's obnoxiousness was refreshing. But like I've said in other videos, it may be time, and we should talk about it, it may be time to mature. It may be time to mature. It may be time to say, okay, we started here, and now this thing that we have, that we're calling a movement, has to evolve. It has to evolve and move on. And if it doesn't evolve and move on, it's going to die. Here's what can't happen. This is an article from townhall.com, and this is fact check for truths, because I guess that's what they call them on Truth Social. And I'm going to apologize here too. I did it on TikTok. I said that Truth Social was booty because you couldn't get it on Android. You can, and I am now. Fightback Media is now on Truth Social at Fightback Media. So there you go. There was 4 truths that Trump put out that got fact checked. First, Trump is touting receiving more votes in DeSantis here in Florida. It's true, but it's kind of weak. Trump carried Florida twice, beating Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden by just over 1 percentage point. It was tight, and just over 3 percentage point with Biden. Presidential election turnouts are always much larger than the midterm turnouts. Always. DeSantis first won his gubernatorial term in the blue year of 2018. Yes, with Trump's help, by a little more than 30,000 votes statewide. With Trump's help, a little more than 30,000 votes. A lot of us in Florida are like, whew. As it turned out, whew, dodged a bullet, right? By a margin of less than 0.5%. What would have happened had Trump not helped? Some even say that Trump was kind of an anchor by that point. 4 years later, he won by roughly 1.5 million votes, achieving a margin of victory of 19 full percentage points, better than his 2008 mark. Trump wants to make apples presidential turnouts to oranges midterm turnout. Make that comparison to make it seem like his win was more impressive. 3 points versus 20 points? An unheard of number in Florida. Here in Florida, we would go 49.4 to 49.5 if you had to choose between a ice cream cone and a cow pie. It'd be split down the middle. That's how we do it here in Florida. You can't compare the two. You can't compare the turnout in a presidential election, which is always greater, than with the turnout in the midterm election. You really can't do that. The second one, if raw votes versus victory margin is deeply a misleading game that Trump wants to play. However, let's look at Trump's raw vote improvement between 2016 and 2020 in Florida. Against Hillary Clinton, Trump collected a little more than 4.6 million votes in the Sunshine State. 4 years later, he improved that mark by more than 1 million votes, 5.7, amounting to a 3+ point overall margin. Due to the enormous number of total votes cast, Biden won 5.7 million votes compared to Clinton's 4.5 million. DeSantis won more votes in Florida last year than Clinton won in the 2016 presidential election, flipping blue counties like Miami-Dade, Palm Beach, and Osceola, all of which Trump decidedly lost twice. So, Trump is making all this noise, but the thing is, what we know here in Florida is DeSantis is getting it done. Maybe not. He hasn't shown up to Mar-a-Lago and kissed the ring, but politically, election-wise, Ron DeSantis is getting it done, and I think Trump would go a long way in admitting so, and just come out and saying that Ron DeSantis is going to be formidable, and it's going to be a battle of ideas. And what he has over Ron DeSantis, as far as the White House goes, is experience. Instead of this path that his campaign is going down now, which I think is a destructive path, and I think it's also a scorched earth path, which is why I don't think he should be doing it. It's scorched earth. It's like I'll burn it all to the freaking ground first, and I just don't think that's the right methodology. Do you? Do you really think that's the right methodology? I'll just burn the whole damn thing down first? I don't think so. I don't think that's the right way to go. I think that's a bad way to go. I do, anyway. So, let me see here. I got it going on over here. Looking. Nothing good. All right. Let's go ahead. We got at least one or two more. Demographically, Trump lost Florida women in 2020. DeSantis won them by 7 points 2 years later. Trump lost Florida Hispanics in 2020. DeSantis won them by 15 points 2 years later. Trump lost Florida's independents in 2020 by double digits. DeSantis won them by 8 points in 2022. Trump got blown out by Biden among young voters in Florida. DeSantis was competitive, outright winning the 30 to 44-year-olds. There is simply no honest or realistic way to paint Trump's electoral performance in Florida as better than DeSantis. Even if you want to pretend that Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden were high-quality candidates, it's difficult for Trump to dismiss Charlie Crist as an easy pushover because Trump just recently praised Crist's job performance and popularity in Florida as part of a separate rhetorical shotgun blast at DeSantis. And we talked about that, right? Third one. The former president again attacked DeSantis from the left on entitlement reform, using the cut and pasted Democratic talking points to assail positions and votes DeSantis took while in Congress, tying him to former House Speaker Paul Ryan. What did I just say when I started? The Trump campaign, in a lot of ways, is sounding just like the left. And they seem almost allied. And this is a mistake. This is a mistake. For the record, Here's how Trump described Ryan upon his retirement in 2018. Here's what he said. President Donald Trump on Wednesday praised House Speaker Paul Ryan as a truly good man with a legacy of achievement. As the news broke that the lawmaker will not seek re-election in Congress, he said this. This is what Trump said. Speaker Paul Ryan is a truly good man, and while he will not be seeking re-election, he will leave a legacy of achievement that no one can question. We are with you, Paul, he tweeted. Do you see how this is chaotic for no reason? Number 4. I think we're going to finish up here. In a rehash of another recent barb, Trump claims that Florida has been doing well for quite a while, long before he put Ron there. The voters put DeSantis there. We did. I did. Let me help you. And I want to say this in the most respectful way possible. I don't give a damn who Trump endorses. I couldn't care less. He could endorse a one-legged monkey with acne. I don't care. It doesn't make any difference to me. And if he thinks that the person that he endorses and writes a little check for is the person that we're all going to run and stand behind because he endorsed them, I think I think that narcissist thing that they talk about. Yeah, I think you should talk to somebody, get a therapist or something, because I don't care. And you know what? And neither do a lot of other people. Oh, you endorse this guy. All right, cool. I was going to vote for him anyway. Or I wasn't going to vote for them anyway. Doesn't make any difference to me. We talk about that around here. When people, endorse this person or endorse that person, how little that means normally. It just hardly ever means anything. Trump half-heartedly endorsed DeSantis at the tail end of the last cycle, later saying that he regretted doing so. He regretted, this is the chaos that is the Trump campaign machine. He regretted endorsing a candidate that won all the demographics that Trump lost here in Florida, that won them. He regrets endorsing the candidate that won by almost 19 full points more than he did the first time. He doesn't regret endorsing DeSantis, but DeSantis has performed poorly, as so many Trump's endorsed politicians have. A lot of people that he has endorsed, terrible. I would have voted for Herschel Walker over the demon, over that demon-possessed congressman, who's not a minister, who's not a pastor, who's obviously a demon-possessed heretic. Sure, I would have. I'd have voted for a cup of coffee over, what's her face, in Georgia. Sure, I would have. So Trump's endorsement was not necessary. But a lot of his candidates didn't do that well. So this idea that there'd be no DeSantis had there not been any Donald Trump is weak. Number 5, it's true that the sunshine and ocean have been Florida's selling points for years, but voters haven't previously seen fit to flock to the state in record numbers, as they have since 2020. Also, despite the climate and seaside appeal, statewide office holders almost never win blowouts in the state, let alone by nearly 20 points. Until 2022, that is. Did the sun magically get sunnier and the ocean's bluer? Actually, the ocean has been getting a bit bluer under the current governor's policies. It may be the only thing getting bluer in the state. Number 6. Guy Benson writes, it's downright embarrassing to pretend that DeSantis was a big lockdown governor. I was here. Who sealed all the beaches, But Trump keeps saying it anyway, with the Democratic National Committee cheering him on. This is why this is a problem for the president, and for a lot of you who support me and support the president. We have to be able to talk about this. The things that he's saying and pushing are incorrect. The first claim is preposterous on his face. The second claim is provably false. And you don't have to take my word for it, take Trump's word for it. Here's what he said. He's a super threat of Trump announcing that DeSantis led the way in keeping Florida free and open. He tweets, he does it. He acknowledged that DeSantis was opening schools before everybody else, and we were. We were opening schools before anybody else. As a matter of fact, when we came back from that spring break, that all our kids went home for spring break and they didn't go back to school, it was the plan in August to come back. That was the plan. In August to come back. Now, that first year we came back, there was an e-learning option. What a cluster, you know what that was. But the second year, it was in school learning or nothing. There was no e-learning option. Florida virtual school was an option. That's always an option. So if you are attending a school already and you decide to go to Florida virtual school, you are now not attending the school you were in. You are now a Florida virtual school student. So it wasn't both. That actually happened. Actually happened. A lot of you who watch me and follow me know that I work at a theme park. We closed that same week, and we were back open in June. We closed in the second or third week in March, and we were open in June. I don't work for Disney. They were open. They announced they're open. When they announced they're open, we were open the week before, the week after they announced we were open, with guests coming to the park. Yes, we were doing that dumbass temperature checks and having everybody wear a mask. It was ate up with a dumbass, but we were open. We were open. Our grocery stores here were open. People were going to work. They were. I was going to work. This is how I know. This is how I know. Because I'm here. I am here. I was here then too. I saw it happen. Up close and personal. I saw it happen. So, again, what Trump is saying and what the Democrat National Committee is cheering on isn't true. You know, the problem is it's not true. That's the biggest problem. Not true. Not. And whenever, frankly, you have somebody saying these things, when you have the President of the United States, when you have former President Trump, who's running again, saying the same thing the Democratic National Convention is saying, folks, it's a problem, isn't it? Isn't that a problem? I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I hope that Ron DeSantis does not run for president. Why? Because I'd rather have him full focused on being the governor of my state. Because that's how good a job I believe he's done. And will continue to do. We are gaining ground here in Florida, not losing ground. We're not holding serve here. We're actually getting aces and winning. Moving forward. Moving freedom forward. You know? It's actually happening. How many pictures Think back now during the height of COVID. How many pictures and videos of beaches in Florida where you saw tons of people were all over the news? How many? Lots. How many skate parks were filled with sand to keep people home in Florida? You know how many? None. Zero. How many videotapes did you see where police officers were chasing down one person on a beach and arresting them for being outside? How many times did you see that in Florida? I know. None. So this idea that DeSantis was the king of lockdowns is preposterous. You know, it's almost like Trump doesn't really believe his own stories about DeSantis' record. As he openly admitted, and the lockdown lies are pretty rich coming from a guy who deferred to Dr. Anthony Fauci over and over again. When we were screaming, fire this guy, he couldn't though. He was stuck politically. Joining Fauci in attacking Republican governors who didn't go along with the Trump-Fauci lockdown guidance. Didn't do it. Number 7. I think we're almost done. There's a reason why so many Trump examples of Florida ranking poorly on matters like COVID and crime just so happen to involve the state being third worst in the country. It's a very stupid reason, I'm afraid. Ready? Either he doesn't realize, or he's counting on his supporters not to realize that Florida has had the third most COVID cases / deaths / murders / rapes because Florida has the third highest population in the country. We got more people. He is clumsily manipulating raw numbers again, as it seems as though he's just doing this intentionally, because in another stat listed in the extended rant, he references death rates, not total deaths. In reality, Florida is in the middle of the pack in age-adjusted excess deaths during the pandemic, and was the best-ranked largest state in the study, taking into account COVID-era death rates, economic performance, and in-school instruction. Team DeSantis notes that based on the NCHS/CDC Wonder data from 2020 to 2022 in underlying cause of death, Florida had lower per capita mortality rates involving COVID-19 than New York. And when adjusted for age, it was also lower than California. Trump apparently wants people to believe that Andrew Cuomo did a better job than DeSantis during COVID. Do you believe that? You didn't believe it then, and I don't believe you believe it now. How long until Trump brings leftist Rebecca Jones on stage at a rally to repeat her debunked Randy Weingart endorsed conspiracy theory against DeSantis? Number 8. Trump criticized Florida's education system as among the worst in the nation. U.S. News and World Report ranks Florida as number 3 overall in education in the U.S., number 1 in higher education, and number 16 in pre-K through 12. By far the top performing red state. Florida students scored above the national average, often significantly higher in math, reading, and science in 2022, from the National Report Card. We're doing well. What ought to bother you, especially my friends who support the president here in my state, is that these things are being said and they're not true. They're not even close to being true. They're lies. I guess we could call them lies, because they're not even close to being true. I guess, right? Right? It's insane, folks. It's absolutely insane. All right. That's enough for one night. Thank you ever so much for spending some time with us. My name is Willie Lawson of FightbackMedia.com, 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 and FightbackMediaTV.com. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.